Yes, I'm sorry. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
that's okay. That's okay. We're live and we're glad you're here. Hello, everyone, and welcome, welcome, welcome to Learning with Miss Nancy. You know, we go live every Tuesday, and my goal is to feature our brothers who are making a positive impact in the community, because if you continue to watch the social media platforms, it looks like our men aren't doing their job, but that's not true. Every Tuesday, I'm featuring a positive brother who is doing the job and working and taking care of families and going to work and making positive impact not only with early learners but with their community. So today we have, I have to turn this off. We have Derek Jolly here. I'm gonna turn. Wait a minute, Derek. I turn this phone off real quick. Derek Jolly.
Yes, how are you?
Jolly is our graphic artist. And so the title of today's session is The Graphic Artist and the Early Learner. Welcome, Derek.
Hey, how are you, Miss Nancy? How are you today?
And we're so happy to have it. Now, I'm going to read. Derek doesn't have a bio, y'all. He has a memoir. But I cannot read all of these pages, and they're beautifully written. But I just picked out a portion that just touched my heart, and I know it will touch yours as you hear it. So Derek has a Bachelor's of Science degree in graphic design from Drexel University, and he earned that degree in 1991. So it starts off, his memoir starts off with the portion that I selected. It says, in 1986, I was a proud member of the graduating class of what was then the relatively new Philadelphia High School for Creative and Performing Arts, CAPA. We refer to that school as Kappa. Correct. Many of my schoolmates would go on to enjoy fame and notable professional careers in the performing arts, from R&B artists such as Boyz II Men and Questlove to jazz and to jazz luminaries such as Christian McBride and Joey DeFrancesco. Others would star in theater and television. The school auditorium was the training ground for gifted dancers, singers, and actors, and the work of visual artists lined the hallways and bulletin boards. I'm visuals. I can see that, Derek. The space was saturated with talent and creativity. My focus was visual arts. As I began the college application process, Drexel was on my radar because a neighbor had an Apple Macintosh computer, and that was uncommon in 1986. And Drexel was one of the first schools that required students to use a computer. I was amazed and very interested. I was able to draw on his computer. This was the future. I excitedly told my high school teacher, and he shared his belief that the computer will take over the field of graphic design. No longer will we painstakingly lay out drawings on paper from scratch. My high school counselor agreed, and to my surprise, she informed me that Drexel was about to start a graphic design program using computers, one of the first programs of its type. I applied and was accepted and began my journey as a computer first generation college student in the fall of 1986. I majored in graphic design and graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in 1991. What stands out most vividly in my memory are the color theory classes, the exploration of art in various spaces, my experiences with Adobe platforms, but most important, the invaluable mentoring at Drexel. I owe much of my growth and development during this time to a remarkable woman named Connie Hatchett. That's my mama, y'all. Right. Connie Hatchett.
That's right.
Mrs. Hatchett was a counselor who treated me like a son, always there to offer a listening ear and words of encouragement, whether times were good or challenging. Her door was perpetually open, and it was a sanctuary where I found solace and reassurance. Over time, our bond deepened, and I began to regard her as a second mother. Mrs. Hatchett not only supported me academically, but also welcomed me into her family circle. I was fortunate enough to be included in their Thanksgiving and Christmas celebrations where I experienced warmth and love like that of my own family. Her kindness and generosity have left an indelible mark on my life, and I am forever grateful for her presence during both the highs and lows of my journey at Drexel. Oh, Derek, that's so beautiful. And I hope mom is listening because I know that this would touch her heart. And this is how we give back, right, Derek, and how we positively impact the lives of people. So welcome, 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 Derek.
Thank you.
And
Thank
for those of you who don't know, Derek does all of my graphic arts for all of my books. I have about 4 books now, and I think he's done 3 of the 4. In my latest book, he did the graphic arts. Graphic arts. Of Ghoulie Foofus. Isn't that beautiful? That's his work. And Derek, you may not remember this, but when I first started my first book, it's in hardback form.
Oh no, I love that one. That's my favorite one.
And it's 2017 it has.
That was my
and Derek, he encouraged me, and he said to me, I remember because I was going to those other platforms, where a lot of us go to get self-published books. And he said, well, Nancy, I remember you saying, do you want a good book or do you want a great book? And I said, I want a great book. He said, well, that's not a great book. Let me help you out. And so I have this hardback there. This is the only one that's hardback. And I couldn't print hardback because it was so expensive at the time. But I saved this one copy and I dedicated it to my husband. And this is because of Derek. And all of this is graphic arts, right?
That is correct.
So
yes.
Derek, can you explain to my audience what exactly is graphic arts design? What is it?
Well, you might hear someone may say graphic
art. I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Mic is.
You can't hear me now? Can you?
Nope, your mic. You're on mute. You got to come off of mute. Yeah.
I'm off mute now. Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you. I don't know what happened.
Oh my God! It says everyone can see and hear you.
No sound at all, Derek.
Oh my gosh!
No sound.
It doesn't have.
On my end, I don't hear. You can hear me, right?
I definitely can hear you.
I cannot hear you at all.
Oh my goodness! Hold on 1 second, everyone. All right, let's see. I am trying. Is off. Settings, audio.
Can't hear you.
Okay, echo cancellation.
And your mic is on?
My mic is all the way up. Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Your mouth is moving.
I got all the way up. I got all the way. I might. Okay, and you can't hear me. Wow. Okay. What? All right. What about now? Can you hear me? Still can't hear me? I'm sorry, everyone. Let me there. No. Let's see. And the mic is all the way up.
So nothing.
Let me see. And you still can't.
And I can't do anything from mine, and it has to come from your side.
Nope. That's my speakers. My microphone. How about?
Hello. Oh! My sister told me that she can hear you. I can't hear you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for calling. Okay. Well, I'll call it that they can hear you. Let me. Thank you for calling me, Dad. So maybe it was me.
You cannot hear me still?
I can hear you, yeah.
You can hear me now?
Derek, you know what? Let the people be told the volume on my computer was all the way down. Me, I apologize.
Oh my
Okay, so
goodness.
Derek, can you tell us the difference between what's the difference between a graphic artist
An
and
illustrator.
illustrator?
Well, first, let me explain to you what a graphic designer is. A graphic designer is a person who uses art and technology to communicate ideas through visual design. And
Mm-hmm.
that could mean anything from a flyer to a poster, or saying poster, a book, a brochure, and now things have added such as the web, social media, those aspects of those things. And
Mm-hmm.
there's before I got on here today, I was looking at what was the answer that Google would say for a graphic artist. So what I just gave you was the definition of the Googles, but I'm going to try to make it in a simple terms of where basically graphic design is a person who takes text and uses text throughout the design. So, like I said, with the posters and the flyers and the things of that, and then the things like you see social media, packaging design, and everything like that. And so, when I was looking to find out what a graphic designer was, it listed there are 7 types of graphic designers design things today, which
Mm-hmm.
when I was, like you said, in 1991, it might have been only 2 or 3.
Right.
So today, like I said, as I mentioned before, you have web design, which is someone who designs websites and things of that nature. Then you have something called UI, which is an interactive between somebody like you and me and
Mm-hmm.
how things work on your phone. Also, there's something called what I do, advertising and marketing, where such as the little Connies when we back in the day had little Connies and we did things such as made a logo and then did marketing for that. Now you have also packaging design, and that's where you see anything in your household that's in your cabinets and everything like that, from the cereal box to the mac and cheese box and the juices and everything like that. There are other things such as trying to think of another one, publication, like for your books. Your
Mm-hmm.
book that is a publication, that's another aspect of graphic design where someone like yourself gives me artwork and said, Derek, I need you to put this book together. And I put the pieces together using the text you gave me and the artwork, the illustrator work, and combine them together to make a book. And the difference between, as you were asking me before, was the difference between an illustrator and a graphic designer. The illustrator, to me, I mean, an illustrator could be a graphic designer too, but an illustrator to me is more of a person who does the drawing, that gets their ideas from the client, and then they go and execute it through pictures. And then what I do is take that work and put it together with the words to, like I said, make a book or something like that.
So that's thank you for the explanation. But do you have to be an artist to be a graphic designer? Do you
I'm
have to know how to draw?
I don't. And back in the day, I thought so, but with today's technology and
Mm-hmm.
everything, the way AI is and things, you don't have to know how to draw. To me, I think if you have a good idea, you can put that on paper or whatever, or like I said, on Instagram or something of that nature. I don't think, like, for me, for example, when you was reading about me,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't the strongest artist in my classroom and
Mm-hmm.
everything. I could draw, well, at least I thought I was phenomenal until I got in the classroom with all these other people and
Right.
everything like that. And so, interesting you say that. So, when I saw everybody else, I was like, ooh, they way better than me. So, I got
Mm-hmm.
to try to channel this in another avenue.
Mm-hmm.
What can I do? Because I'm not the strongest artist in illustrating the class. What could I do to make it work for me? And so at that time, my teacher suggested me maybe there was this field called graphic design, and he thought maybe that would be suitable for me, and of course he was correct.
Oh,
Yes.
so then I remember you said the person take a trip to the supermarket. That is like the haven for graphic art.
Oh,
Explain that.
yes. So supermarket has everything in there is graphic design, and what they call that for the most part, like I said earlier, was packaging design. So think about it, when you drive up to the supermarket, that first thing you see the name of the supermarket, like Shopping Right or whatever. That logo was created by a graphic designer. The posters and signage when you walk on the door, like open and everything like that, that's a graphic designer. So every aisle, thousands and thousands of graphic design things are there. So like I said, when you pick up this cereal box, it just didn't come out of thin air. It took months and months and months of someone sitting there giving ideas, and whoever's in charge giving the okay and the no's. I don't like that. Can you go back and do this and do that? So it's a lot of processing to see the final product. Because like you said, we just take for granted everything, but it took a lot of work to see the artwork that you see in the supermarket. So every aisle, like I said, is graphic design, even from the labels on the shelves and everything like that. Someone had to come up with that, because graphic design is also, people don't think like this, but you had to chose the artwork, the fonts, and everything, like what kind of space it's going to be in, and all those kind of things like that before it gets on the shelf. It's like I said, so you don't. It might have been 10 different steps, you know, before we actually see it and everything like that. Because it starts out like you said. If someone doesn't know how to draw, but you can kind of sketch a little bit. It might start out with a sketch and everything like that, and then when you start from the sketch, you may have to hire an illustrator and say, "Hey, we're looking for someone to draw this." And then once it comes back, then you have to apply the information that the writers give to you, and then you have to all put it all together like a jigsaw puzzle. And like I said, what happens is after that point there, you go to your art director, and your art director will say, "Oh no, I like that, but could you try this?" And then, like I said, it's a long process before you see the final result. Of course, as you saw with your book, the different steps it took to do your book. Yes,
Right. So there appears like graphic art is more technical than like a illustrate. Is it more technical?
right. Yeah, right. So it's more. It's you can use your hand to do graphic design, but because of today's technology, it would just be better and easier for you to use the computer. Because I'll tell you a story. So when I went to Drexel, and like I said, in 1991, the computer had not been really introduced in the graphic design setting yet. So there was these rules that you had to apply math to. Now I was a great math. I loved math and everything like that. And there was this device, I think they call it a piker rule. And what that did was, if you had a body of text, let's say you had 200 and some words, you had to know, this thing would show you how to calculate and put this in the design that you were creating, in that where how large the type had to be, the spacing to fit in this space. So just like you like looking at me like now, maybe the audience looking at it like, "Oh yeah, that's confusing," but it was confusing. But like the next year, oh my God, that dang on computer opened up, and it was like a sign of relief, because you didn't have to do that anymore. Because now what would happen is you would have the pictures. I mean, you would have the text, and you just copy and paste it into the text box of the program you was using, and you would see if it didn't work. So that meant you had to open up the box a little bit, and of course the text would fit into the boxes larger. So it just, I mean, the computer just changed everything. It just changed everything.
So there, with that being said, programs like Canva, right? Are they knocking you guys out the field? Are they knocking you out the field?
Oh, most definitely, yes.
Okay.
Oh,
Talk about
definitely.
that.
Yeah, so programs like Canva are for people who don't want to use me. Like for the day, like today's when we were talking earlier yesterday, how you use that nice graphic and you put my picture in it to talk about the day. So as you what you did, you used a template and you typed it in there, and of course it looks gorgeous and everything like that. So Canva has said, okay, you don't need a graphic designer. We're going to create all these templates, thousands of templates for you, and you can go in there, change the color, change the font. But here's a great start. So if you need a flyer about today's show or whatever, I have my picture. I need to just type it in, and then that's what Canva. Canva is a great tool for those who maybe doesn't want to use somebody like a me.
Right.
It's easier and it's simpler, to go in there and just pick a template. And not only that, they do it for the web, I understand, and then they also now do video as well. So it's
But Derek, I will say this. I will say this.
yes.
A lot of people, me included,
Yes.
right? We're doing this stuff.
Yes.
And when I look at books, you use programs. A lot of the graphics
Yes.
and illustrations are like the same. You can see the same eyeball. I can look at 10 books.
Yes.
And all of the characters look the same. That a result of not using a person like you.
That is correct, because just like you just said, because everyone can use Canva. So you are going to get the same thing. If someone likes your same style, you're definitely going to get the same thing, where somebody like me will not use Canva and try to be a little more creative and do things a little differently that you may not see that you would see on Canva, because the programs that I use, they allow you to do anything you want. If I want to put a type at an angle or something like that, it does. You're not limited to the software that I use. You can, as creative as you are, it'll allow you to do those kind of things.
But those programs are limited. They are.
They're limited, right? Yes.
That was one of my problems when I did my first book. And like I said, not anybody else, because I've used them. But that's what said to me. Do you want a good book? Or do you want a great book? Because my good book looked like everybody else's book.
Right.
But my great book doesn't look like anyone, and I can own it as my own. So people got to get their homework, and the thing is, you save money, but when you start making money, they want to branch out from those cookie cutter programs and hire an individual that can really design what you need that reflects you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I know firsthand what that's like. So Derek, my next question is, do you think graphic artists are born or are they made? People always say, they're questioning, are teachers born or are they made? What's your opinion?
Good question. I think it's probably a combination of both. Because when being in that art classroom, I knew how to draw, and at that time, like I said, you had the art. I mean, the teacher gave you this assignment or whatever, and you had to come up with a concept through drawing. You did it, but there was reasons behind the method of what you were doing. So as a graphic designer, when you go to school, they teach you a lot of things that you might not have thought of, like art theory and the use of color and everything like that. And there were things that were taught to help to make whatever you did better and make it a stronger piece. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times, people will do things and it's okay, but it's something that could always be better. So being going to school and having the great teachers that I had, they strengthened my ideas and my thought patterns to make myself better. Like I said, being a designer and a drawer, being an illustrator and things like that, for me, I was okay. But when I was able to go into that graphic design, it just opened the avenues even better, even more for me. So I would say yes and no, maybe that I don't think you need to, because like I said, if once you get in school, they do teach you how to do graphic design and the best aspects of doing different things. But I think, like I said, I think maybe I had a heads up at that time, because like I said, if I needed to draw something that I did not see, I could draw that and display it in my piece. But today, with all the technology and the royalty-free images and everything like that, I mean, your work is 10 times better as far as it was 25, 35 years ago.
Okay. But there's some differences. As a child, let's say this young kid interested in physical graphic art, what academic prerequisites do you need to become a proficient? Because a lot of kids, I don't need reading, but you know how to read,
You need,
right?
yes.
What about math?
Okay. Like I said to you earlier, math was important then, but not anymore, because the computer does everything for you. But like you said, Nancy, and you can't read, how you know a word is spelt wrong?
Right.
You know what I mean? You
Okay.
got to know how to read, which is a must. You know what I mean? You. So the prerequisites for design is you have to. When, like I said, started was I had to go to school. When I got to college, it was theory and color, black and white, and everything like that. Then from that, you dealt with spacing, and I didn't understand what the heck that was. But what it was how you design things in a room, and what the best way I can explain it would be like, let's say something like that wall behind you. Let's say, for example, if I kind of made like maybe a fake cannon to come out of that wall right there, try to design a fake cannon out of that wall, and then on the other side of the wall there was the hole that it made. So right there it would told a story. So on one side, here's something that came out of your wall and shot something to the other side and stuck on the wall. So that's what I mean by spacing. Another thing, somebody once used something with like yarn and created stick on the wall and then made something three-dimensional. So there's all kind of aspects. So learning things like that, and then the big boy was at that time you had to know how to use the program. So you had to learn. They had to teach you how to use the software and what it did. You know what I mean? Because at first, when I like to dabble and try to learn on my own sometimes. Not as much as today as I was back then, because the program that you use for to do posters and things like that, I think it was called Quark Express back then. I was using it to draw. You know what I mean? I was doing it to draw things. Now it was unconventional, but that's how I did with it. You know what I mean? So that kind of showed. So by doing that way, I think it helped me accelerate a little bit more, because I was doing things that it wasn't meant to do, but I was doing it anyway. So I was learning how to do it that way.
Okay. So as I speak to all of mine, that reading
Oh
It's
yes.
fundamental. And like you said, you can't be a graphic artist if you don't know how to read. You have to learn how to read, right?
Yes.
So when you see children, how would you be able to spot like a kid who might be a good candidate for graphic arts if you see them like in motion? Have you seen any kids that make made you pause and say, there's something special about that child the way they draw pictures and stuff? Have you seen anything in your travel?
I well, like earlier I said, graphic design. I did not know what graphic design was when I first started. But with children today, as I see them doing illustrations and paintings and things of that nature, um, I think for them, I don't necessarily say, "Oh, you would be a good graphic designer" per se, but but with the creativeness and their thought pattern, I always say to myself, "Oh, wow, what if they had added some text to that, or something like that?" But I think that's a good start for them. But I don't, like I said, with myself, I didn't see myself as a graphic designer. I was someone told me about graphic design. That's the only reason why I'm here today, because someone introduced it to me.
So how would a young child be exposed to graphic design? How would are there any programs out there early?
Nancy, now with today's technology, kids are already doing graphic design with their
Okay.
own Instagram and
Okay.
all that kind of stuff. There, that's what UI is. That's called interactive design and everything like that. Kids that see what look at websites, like I said, everything is graphic design. So from a music CD, anything, like I said, there's there's not one time in the day you cannot see a graphic design. When you pick up the toothpaste, the letter and everything, and the words on the toothpaste and everything like that. So kids, like I said, today way more advanced. They're making their own movies and videos and everything like that.
I guess the idea is to introduce the vocabulary because they're already doing the work. They may not relate the term graphic design to the
Yes.
consumer. So
Yes.
maybe for us,
They
to
right.
educate them and let them know what you're doing
Is
is
graphic
the
design.
field of
Yes,
graphic
the
design.
field of graphic design. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I was telling, I got a message from my grandson's grandmother
Right.
and the other grandmother. She said she was relying to come on because he's a very good artist. And so he draws a lot of pictures. So it would be really interesting to know. He knows what that term means and how it is related to what he does every day. Draws his attention. Right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So who would you consider to be your mentor coming through?
Okay. So of course my parents.
Yes.
I got interested in drawing because I would see my dad doodling on pieces of paper,
Okay.
and so I was like, oh wow. And then I would be so interested, so I would start doing it myself. And when I was in elementary school, I remember like drawing boats and things of that nature and pirate ships and things like that. And my teacher, Ms. Williams, said, "Oh, you have a talent, you have a gift, and everything like that." So what she thought was say, "Well, you know what you need to do? You need to go to create and performing arts." And what she did was she helped me get a portfolio together. So he said, "I want you to draw hands. I want you to draw a self portrait of yourself," and it was one other thing, and everything like that. So she was very instrumental in me pursuing my art career. I'm drawing.
Okay.
Right. So then from there, the gentleman who introduced me to graphic design was a teacher by the name of Mr. Cohen, and he was the one that advised me to go into the graphic design field. Okay. A friend so I have two friends that are amazing. To one of them is named Jonathan Pickett, an amazing graphic. I mean, not graphic design, but a artist, unbelievable talent, and he taught me some tricks of the trades to drawing and everything like that. That I just was like, wow, and everything like that. So he's very inspiration. I inspired by him by all the time because he's just an amazing. Then there's an you had one on last week, I believe.
A
Akeem.
king.
Akeem was an amazing person to me because we would be sitting in his room in high school and everything and like that, and you saw him love his craft so much that while we were goofing off, he would sit there and he'd be drawing his comic books, and the progression from then to where he is today is astounding to me. So
Yeah.
you know, he's another one, and then another young man. His name is Josh. I love Josh because Josh is a person who, whatever he puts his mind to it, he goes for it. You know, don't care if he stumble in the beginning, but he makes it happen. So I met him back in the day. Well, I guess they still do have a king because I met him in there and we just chatted up. And so we've been friends for over 30 years now. But like I
Okay.
said, he was a graphic designer at first, and then he went from graphic designer to being a photographer, an amazing photographer. And then he stopped. He didn't want to do that anymore, and now he has a restaurant selling vegan foods and things like that. So he's just an amazing person to me. I love him because, like I said, it doesn't matter. He goes for what he was in his mind. So, like I said, he doesn't care at the stumbles and everything. Like, because at least he tried. If that's what he wanted to. He did try to do what he wanted to do. So I like that a lot about him.
So Derek, I know you're doing all male.
I knew you was going to
Is
say that.
graphic design dominated by men instead of male dominated field?
I don't think so. I don't think so anymore, Miss Nancy. I
I
don't
mean,
think
but back
so.
in the day, wasn't it male dominated field?
Well, I'm
When you
trying to
were
think.
in
So,
school?
so when I was in school, I think it was half and half.
Okay.
I think it was half and half at that time. But you know, women are so amazing today. They just they take over everything. So it's probably more women designers now than men.
That's just how it is.
Yes, it does. Yes, yes.
So Derek, let me ask you, in graphic design, can you make a lot of in the lucrative industry?
Oh, Nancy, Miss Nancy. Yes, you know, like Akeem showed you last week, graphic design is even T-shirt designs. I mean, even the hat, the Eagles logo. If it wasn't an illustrator that did it, but maybe a graphic designer probably tweaked it to make it work for them. Everything, like I said, this T-shirt I have on, flyers, um, the record industry for the CDs, all that stuff, everything. Like I said, you can design websites, you can do motion graphics, everything. I mean, sky's the limit. You just gotta know what you want to do, and then get good at that, and then pursue it that way.
Right. Okay. There's a lot of money. But then I got this thinking. I don't know why this popped in my head.
Yes.
But graffiti art. How are they related to graphic art?
Oh, like I said earlier, the words. So you think about how beautiful that is, and how that is. So I take that, and then people took graffiti, and then what, because of how beautiful it was, I think that's what made people start doing the murals like you see across the city, because you know you paint on a wall and everything like that. And I have a friend named Gabe that does murals on the wall,
Is
and
that just a graphic design? A mural?
it could be because you, as you see, some of them have words and things on there. It could be considered, you know what I mean? Because once the person can say, "Hey, I would like this on the wall. Let me see what you can do." There's there's one of my favorite ones here in Philadelphia, downtown at Eighth and Market. I think it's the Five Below. It's a graph for Five Below, and he's using as a young person using a lava lamp, and it has Five Below there. So that you can consider that could be graphic design, because what is that? That's promoting their business. So anyone driving down the street, what are they going to see?
Right.
That Five Below logo.
Okay. Well, that's good. I know what I think was really art. It is beautiful.
It's awesome.
They're talented, and I'm sure like a lot of things that you do, you can transfer your skills over to another field.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, Derek, let me ask you this: what's the most, let's say, out of all your projects that you've done millions of, what's your most? I think. Which project are you most proud of? If you were to name one.
Okay. I would say only because it's new, I guess. As you well know, as you asked me, is a lucrative. So what I came up in the last 10 years or 15 years or whatever, I decided to say, okay, what can I do to be a little different than most people? So I said, all right, my god sister had an obituary on her table, on a coffee table. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay, why is that on your coffee table? Why? I like it. I said, oh, you like that? I said, really? So I said, what could I do to possibly make that do something else that was maybe kind of stand out, make it look different than what I was seeing with the trifold, whatever the case may be. So what I did was, I said, all right, I'm going to make it into a book. Now, yes, there are people that do obituary books. I've seen them. But like I said, I had to use what I learned in school and everything like that and try to design something that was different and stand out amongst what I was already seeing. So I started applying that. So someone at Temple, somebody on their basketball team had passed, unfortunately. And what happened was John Chaney, the coach of Temple basketball, had it, and he said if something was to ever happen, if he was to die, he wants that person, whoever did this book, this obituary book, I want them to do my book. Right. So, unfortunately, he died about a couple of years ago, and the funeral home and the family reached out to me and said, "Hey, we want you to do John Chaney's obituary."
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, Derek.
Yes.
That is wonderful.
Yes.
So that's a proud moment.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely, most definitely.
And out of all the things you've done some beautiful work. Some of you talk about the things you did drexel. You know, like you have those, what are those things that you had hanging over the advances? Those long, cloth, raw branches on them. I forget what you call them, but you have those drapes over the banners.
Oh, yes, yes. But yeah, so yes.
And I know that there's a flag. Remember, you did like a stained glass window for us.
And that's where
and paint.
And guess who helped me with that?
And then you have that. You have it. I can't find it. You're just so talented. So Derek, now you talk about what you are most proud of. Is there anything that made you question your ability for you to say maybe it's not the field for me starting out?
Not really. You know, as an artist, I don't. Well, at least for me, you know, sometimes there are things that I do, like you said, question it. It might not be your strongest thing, but sometimes things happen where maybe timing and something that might have to be done quickly, you know, and you sit there and you like, oh, wow, I wish I could do this to it, but because of the time constraints, you're not able to do it. Because, Miss Nancy, as well as you know, oh my gosh, I am a stickler. I am perfectionist to
Yeah.
nobody's end. So when I do something for me, oh my gosh, it is a painstaking process.
Okay.
And no matter what I do,
Mhm.
I'm constantly changing things. Like right now, the website. Nancy, I'm not even going to tell you how long it's been taking to do this website because it's just I can't always change it. So for me, I'm my worst. I can't do
Right.
anything for me, but
Right.
anybody else,
Right.
is not like that. But
Right.
you know, the one time I can only think about maybe when I used to work in corporate America. Had a hard time in one place. Me and one of my coworkers didn't get along, so that would be probably the only time where I might have questioned myself because they was always riding my back. So that would be maybe the only time I maybe wanted to quit. You know what I mean? But I go by what the Lord says. I didn't bring you this far for nothing. So
Right.
you're gonna keep on. You're gonna keep on doing this. So
Doing
that's
it.
what.
So, Derek, now let me ask you this. I asked the artist, King, this. How difficult is it for you to do a project for somebody? And they have one vision, right? But you have your professional lens. And when you see something, you're like, that's not going to work. And it's not going to look right. But they are set on what they want. How difficult is it for you, but you're getting paid for you to do what they want? Does it go against your integrity to do it, even though you know that best?
Oh wow. Okay. So
I know for me, you were able to tell me, like, that's not going to, you could just come right out and say, that's not going to work.
right.
And I'm like, but Derek, and you're like, that's not going to work. I'm telling you right now. And I can receive it because we have a relationship. But what about the other customers and clients? Running into some question and like, I want this, and you're like,
Right. So I'll give one example that one of the ones like a pet peeve of mine. So for example, the hardest thing to get some people to understand is their logos, and a lot of times people that have come to me, let's say for example, let me see. I'm just going to throw out. I'm not saying this is the company or anything like that. So let's say they sold baskets or whatever the case may be, and they wanted to use the basket in part of the logo or whatever the case may be. And I tried to explain to them that I said, no, you don't necessarily need to show a basket because that's the product that you're selling or whatever the case. Now sometimes it does look nice and everything like that, but you don't have to use it because if you think about it, Miss Nancy, Apple computer is not a computer. It doesn't show. That's not a. That's it. They don't show a logo. They show an Apple.
right.
Nike don't show a sneaker. They don't show anybody running down the street. They just show the swoosh shine.
Right.
What's another one that's a popular logo? Walmart. Walmart doesn't show aisles with stuff on the aisle. They don't do that. It's just a bling type of symbol. Lexus cars and Mercedes cars, they don't show a logo of a car. They just show you a symbol of what they did. So a lot of times, to get people to get away from that, to show them it don't have to have that hamburger that you're selling. It doesn't need to do all that. It don't have to have that. You know what I mean? So that one there is woo me. Yes, we have. There's always a 15, 20-minute conversation with that. You don't need to show you sell fries, hamburgers, cheese steak, cheese steaks, pickles, and all that, and you put ketchup. You don't need to do all that. You don't need all that. You don't have to. You can just use the name of the company. You know what I mean? So that there, that's a tough one. Sometimes people, when they ask me to do obituaries and everything like that, they do have some idea what they want. But I always say that I said, okay, let me do me. Let us do me. Let us do us. And then what'll happen is we'll show you and then if you don't like it,
Mhm.
then I'll go with you. Or there and there's been maybe once or twice somebody like definitely wanted something.
Mhm.
Sometimes I won't do it, but if it's not if it's not that if it's okay to it's if it's all right, I say okay, I'll do what you ask, you know,
Okay.
because supposedly the customer is always right.
Right.
Supposedly, yes.
Well, Derek, you have given us a lot of information. And how would people be able to contact you if they need something done? What is your email? I can put it on here.
Yes, you can put it on there for right now.
What is it?
It's BEE Jolly, B Jolly,
B-E?
BEE like a bumblebee,
Uh-huh.
Jolly
Mhm.
88
Uh-huh.
at Gmail or Yahoo.com.
Okay, I have email.com, and I'm gonna put it over here. And show it. Show it.
Now that's the way to get in contact with me. I have an Instagram now. Instagram is just basically for the obituary. That's a Colossians 3:23.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
And
But
Colossians
they get to the email,
that's where you see my some of the work I did as far as the obituaries.
Okay.
And Colossians 3:23 basically means act as if you're working for the Lord.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So then we're ready to close. Do you have any closing remarks for any mother, father, or family of early learners? Is there anything, words of encouragement that you can give for any child that may be a budding artist or graphic artist? Is there anything that you can say to encourage them?
Yes. So, one of the things that I always think about is, how when parents, kids doing their gift or whatever, I call it a gift, drawing everything like that. Don't 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 get on them too much because that's what they're doing. Because I believe that may be the gift sign from God. This is what the direction He wants to do. So I don't think people should tell children or whatnot, oh no, you're not going to make any money doing that. You got to see. I mean, look, I mean, like I come from that school where you look at all the famous people that have come from that school where those young people follow their dreams and look at where they are today. So I wouldn't be so fast to tell them, no, you're not gonna, you can't do that. You know what I mean? Because like I said, it's a gift and it's a talent, and you never know where God is going to take you with that. You know what I mean? And I want to thank you for inviting me today. And me and you had a conversation. I told you I don't do things like this and everything like that. So I appreciate you inviting me today as well. And if you saw anybody walking behind me today, uh, in this house today, there's no air, so it's pretty hot in here.
Okay.
So people working, yes. You see people working in here, yes. They get that heat fixed, yes.
Derek, thank you.
Thank
And
you.
for those of you who are watching, thank you for tuning in. We're with all your friends, the graphic artist, and the early learner. If you want to get in contact with Derek, I'm telling you, he's wonderful to work with. BJOLLYN at gmail.com. Thank you, Derek.
All right, now you have a good one. Take care. Bye bye. Take care.